Okay, so I'm doing a turbo install on a 2015 Cummins 2500 with the 6.7. There's a couple of hints I found that make the install and removal easier. And what they are is there's a heat shield underneath the turbo that the oil line hits on. And I'll show you what I'm going to do is loosen this clamp, and I'm going to pull the inlet housing off and turn it out of the way. Then I can install the oil line and the oil return line and the coolant return lines. I'm going to loosen that clamp and take it off and flip it over, and then I'll show you again. So as you can see, those two little bolts should be, easy. Just screw them right in. But that flexible tube is now bent because you pried the turbo out, and it's quite frustrating to get it back in. Probably almost impossible with that inlet housing on there. So if you take that off and you tweak the poor little plate back to level, then you can kind of push it back up into place and try and fish a gasket on it. It's rather frustrating. And the guy said in the video that I watched, you will invent a new curse word. Well, you will. And I'd share mine with you, but it's terrible. After I was done mopping up the blood, you can see I got those in there. I just have to tighten them up with a ratcheting wrench. And then the banjo bolt, and then we put the housing back on. But we don't want to do anything extra because we don't want to damage that beautiful impeller. So, be very cautious. Okay, so now I have that off. You want to be very delicate around that. But you see I have access to that stupid oil tube. And there's that heat shield under the banjo bolt. Move that so you can see. That son of a bitch hooks up that son of a bitch, and then you can't do anything. So now I got to slide the gasket in there, and I can put those bolts in and just slide the inlet cover back into place very gently and put the clamp back on, and it's so much easier. The other tips that I got that did help is somebody said remove all the clips from the transmission cooler lines, and you can slide them around and it gets you a little more space. Now, the instructions said to hook onto this with the cross piece and take the motor mount out, and oh my God, I don't have that tool, and that seemed like a lot. But I've only cut myself once, and we haven't had any big problems. We got the bolts out and in, no problem. And I'm trying to think if there's any other tips I can give. But that seems to be the easiest way to do this. Okay, let me slide that gasket in. I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time. My videographer is quarantined, so I'm flying the solo. Anyway, stay clean. Happy trails.